What's up, friends? Welcome back. And today we are opening not one, but two amazing wines. And I want you to stick around because we're gonna have a little fun and we're gonna do a blind tasting. Today we're gonna be talking about Merlot. And Merlot doesn't get a lot of attention because it's relative. Cabernet Sauvignon usually sucks up all the attention. But Merlot is a major player. It's one of the most planted red grapes in the world. And two of the most famous regions in the world would be the OG, which is Bordeaux, France, and of course, Napa, California. And both of these bottles are currently available at the WTSO Bottle Shop. So when we're done here, make sure you get them for yourself. So what I'm gonna do real quick is give you some background on the regions, the wines themselves and the wineries, and then Justin over here is going to bag them up for me so that we can do a blind tasting to see if I can taste the differences.
We shall see.
So first we have to start with the original Merlot-based wine. This is from France's Bordeaux region, specifically Saint-Émilion. Now, as we know, Bordeaux is subdivided by two major rivers, and they consider the regions to be either left bank or right bank, depending on which river it sits on. Saint-Émilion is on the right bank. So the village of Saint-Émilion is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and they've been making wine for about 800 years. Now, because of the local soils and the climate, most of the wines in this region are made with Merlot. Most of the wineries in Saint-Émilion are small and family-owned. This one is only 20 acres in size, and the wine itself is made with a blend of Merlot, which is 78%, Cabernet Franc is 15%, and then 7% Malbec. All right, let's jump from Bordeaux to Napa. So Napa Valley was incorporated, I think, in the 1830s, and they've been making wine ever since. But at first, it was mostly Italian varieties that came there because of Italian immigrants. And it wasn't until the late 1800s and the early 1900s that grapes like Merlot and Cabernet Sauvignon found their way to the coast. And as we know, Cabernet Sauvignon sort of took hold and became the most famous grape in the region, but Merlot plays a huge role. And Napa Valley is subdivided into 16 different regions, each with their own climate and soil. And the Rutherford region sits about midway in the valley, so it's sort of like the perfect Goldilocks climate for Merlot. And the Rutherford Hill Winery was founded in 1972, and its original owners realized when they were planting the grapes that it had a similar climate and soils to, yes, Bordeaux. In fact, Rutherford Hill was the first winery to plant the Merlot grape. So before we do the blind tasting, a couple of basic truths about these two regions. The Saint-Émilion is obviously old school, old world, so I expect that to be a lot more austere, probably more structured. You're going to get a lot of those like tertiary flavors, things like tobacco and leather in there. Whereas the California, I expect to be a lot more American in attitude, so a lot more bold, fruit forward and juicy with very, very bright acidity. I didn't have many resources available to me, so I got some party bags. I got rubber bands too as well.
I'm really good at arts and crafts. I love it. Okay, cool.
So it's your job to make these as obscure as possible.
Oh, come on.
Oh man, you're not even taking the foil off. You're killing me.
No, I'm gonna take the foil off.
How's it going? Okay, wait.
All right.
All right, so Justin very cleverly has these color-coded with rubber bands.
So I know which one's which.
Didn't think of it, but that was smart. The Bordeaux is a 2016, the Napa is a 2017. So we're kind of roughly on the same playing field here. So I'm gonna start with this one here with the red rubber band on it. We got kind of like a garnet colored, medium plus intense wine. So, you know, it's not super dense, but it's dark. Ooh, wow. That one is like super strong in like blackberries and blueberries. Not a lot of like the older flavors that you would expect, like tobacco and leather. So relatively young. Very tannic, which means it needs some time to age. Bold though, juicy, medium bodied, and it's all fresh fruit. So a lot of blackberry, blueberry, maybe some cranberry in there as well. Pretty tart. Okay, purple rubber band. A little bit more of an orange color around the rim, which is usually the sign of a wine that's starting to age, so a little bit older. Ooh, man, now I'm confused because this one is really strong in like blackberry, juicy cherry. It's got more of that like Merlot characteristic to it, which I describe as sort of like a red velvet cake. That one is also very juicy and bold, a little more velvety, I would say. If I put this down and I compare it to the other one now is definitely giving me more of that aged kind of characteristic on there, like a lot of tobacco, maybe a little bit of earth as well. I think I got it. Okay, so in summary, the first one here with the pink rubber band on it, when I first tasted it and I didn't have a point of reference, this tasted pretty full-bodied and fresh to me. I was thinking it was the California, but when you put them side by side, juxtaposed, this one starts to become the more austere and lean, definitely more tannic, which leads me to believe that this is probably the French. And of course, this one is more bold and juicy, very American in style, lots of fruit, bursting with flavor. So I'm gonna guess this is probably California.
Well, let's see.
Let's see. Okay.
Quick going. How'd you do?
Yeah. Okay, I guessed correctly.
You did.
Yeah.
Very nicely done.
In fairness, there were only 2 to choose from, so it was, I had a 50-50 shot of getting it right.
Yeah, with my untrained palate, even I could tell the difference.
It's amazing to me because, years and years of doing these wine tastings with groups of people, and one of the common comments that I get from everybody is that it just tastes like red wine to me. And then you put them side by side like this, and they really can see the difference. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so I don't really have a preference. I think there's a context for each wine. So the application is different depending on what you're going to be doing for the night. You could be having a good meal. I would go for the Saint-Émilion. And if you're going to be just enjoying a wine by itself by the fire pit with your friends, then I would go for California. So I got to ask you, which one did you prefer since you tasted them both?
Well, it's so funny because your description was right on the money. If we were just sitting here having a glass of wine, I think I would choose the American one.
Right.
If we were having a meal, I would choose the other.
So I hope you enjoyed that little exercise there and learned something about these wines. These are available over at the WTSO Bottle Shop. So I'll put the link down below this video and you can go get them. You can get other wines from prior Premium Wine Club sets, mix and match them as you like, create your own set, and you can even hire me to do a private tasting of all your wines. Thanks so much for checking out some Merlot with me today, and thanks to Justin for playing along, being a good sport. Cheers to you all, and I'll see you for the next video.